Marinaro, the Sick Podcast, the Montreal Canadiens just completed a wild, crazy game in San Jose versus the Sharks. It was a game that was up and down. It was here, it was there, it was everywhere. And in period number 3, the Canadiens were down by 3 goals, 5-2, and we all thought they're done. Guess what? 5-3, 5-4, 5-5. They come back, but they take a too many men on the ice penalty with less than 5 minutes to go in regulation, and what had to happen happened. The San Jose Sharks scored on that power play. They made them play. They added an empty netter, and the Canadiens lose by a score of 7-5. At the time, it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, but in this crazy game, it takes a couple of crazy guys to stay up to talk about it, and that's what you have here. 2 guys who are absolutely crazy about hockey, yours truly and Pierre McGuire. He'll join me in 3 short minutes. What went right? What went wrong? Who played well? Who didn't? How did they lose this game? We break it all down coming up once again right here live on your number 1 Habs post-game show in the world, the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro. Stay with us.
It's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your number 1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur. Oh!
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement, et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Stanley pour les Canadiens, le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs!
He found the Ducks!
And all together, they work the young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida TB. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, the Canadiens lose by a score of 7-5. Without further ado, let me bring in Pierre McGuire.
The McGuire Report. Presented by Vago Italian.
Yeah, Restaurant Vago, open 23 years. Longevity, not many restaurants open that long. Private dining rooms for any occasions, birthdays, engagements, corporate meetings. Plenty of free parking after 6. Open Monday to Saturday evenings and lunch Tuesday to Friday. Fresh quality ingredients, old world Italian classics and new Italian. Come see Tommaso, the most popular man in Westmount, at the front of the house, and his partner Angelo at the back of the house. It is Restaurant Vago Italien, one of my favorites and one of Pierre Maguire's favorites as well. I think when he joined me last week, I think he said he would be stopping in at some point this week. For reservations, call 514-846-1414. Pierre, do you have a chance to stop by?
Vago tonight, actually. It's Wednesday night already. Well, it's Wednesday morning.
Yes.
Tonight I'll be there at 6 o'clock.
Fantastic stuff, Pierre. I'm sure that a lot of people are excited to hear that, and don't be surprised. Some people go to Vago maybe for the very first time just to see Pierre McGuire. That would be kind of cool. Pierre, what a crazy game. You know, it's funny because I should know where to start here, but I almost don't even know where to start. I'll start with this. Macklin Celebrini, once again, if what happened prior to the Olympics wasn't proof enough and what happened in the Olympics didn't basically seal the deal, Macklin Celebrini tonight with a goal, 3 assists, 4 points. Again, he was unbelievable, Pierre.
He was phenomenal. He dominated the game. Montreal tried to play power on power. They tried to use, their top line with Suzuki, Caulfield, and Kirby Dach, and all those guys were dashes. I think Caulfield was -3. I think Suzuki was -3. I think Dach was -2 in the game. And the big thing you talk about Celebrini's points, it's the way he dominates the flow of the game. He makes his line mates better. Colin Graff's a free agent out of Quinnipiac University, started his college career at Union College. He had 2 points, a goal and an assist tonight. You look at Will Smith, the kid that left Boston College early. Will Smith had a goal and an assist tonight. Celebrini drives the line. Celebrini makes the players around him better. Celebrini gives his team confidence. His coach double shifts him. Tony, I can't stop with the platitudes for this player. He's a phenomenal human highlight reel to watch every single night.
You talked about Will Smith, of course, who's a former 4th pick overall in the draft, just 1 pick before the Montreal Canadiens ended up drafting David Reinbacher with the 5th pick overall. Pierre, why don't we take a look at the starting lineups for tonight's game? We'll start with the Canadiens. And there you have it. Suzuki with Dach on his right, Caulfield on his left, Kapanen with Demidov and Slavkovsky, Evans with Bolduc and Newhook, Deno with Gallagher and Anderson, Matheson, Gooley, Hudson with Dobson, Struble with Carrier, and Jakub Dobish got the starting goal. Pierre, no changes in the Montreal Canadiens lineup. Canadiens team that had won their last game convincingly. No changes in the lineup to start this 3-game road trip on the West Coast.
I don't blame them. They had a good game against Washington. I can understand that. The truth is, I think they're in an evaluation process right now. The one thing I would say is if Dobish has a chance on the Celebrini goal, he wants that one back. That can't go in. That's a major moment in that game, and that cannot go in. But outside of that, I thought in the third period there were some key saves that he made. He had no chance on the game-winning goal by Sherwood, and the only reason why that puck, I kept hearing it was a beautiful play. It was a beautiful play. It was a broken play. It went off Alex Carrier's foot.
It did.
It doesn't go off Carrier's foot. It goes right to the goalie, and there's no play at all. I don't know how the Canadiens figured out to have too many men on the ice that late in the game, but I'm sure we'll get to it. But in terms of the lineup, I thought the lineup was fine.
You know, Pierre, I want to talk to you about that because I'm watching this game, and when Celebrini scores that goal, my son runs into my room, and he's like, oh, what a move Celebrini made on Uri Slavkovsky. Went by him like he wasn't even there, and he ends up on a one-on-one with Mike Matheson. And I said to my son, as it happened, I said, that puck can't go in. Great play, yes, it can't go in. As I took a look at the replay, Pierre, I don't know if it slightly touched Mike Matheson's stick and changed direction a bit. If it did, he's off the hook. If it didn't, that goes right through him. Like you said, he'd have to stop it.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again because the replay that I saw, and I've got a pretty good system here. I didn't see it touch the stick. It doesn't mean it didn't, but that's not an overpowering shot at that point, and there's enough distance there. That's just a clean 5-hole shot. All that being said, like I said, in the third period, he made some good saves. I thought the turning point of the game, Tony, I'll be totally frank with you, Canadiens were up 2-1. They had a plethora of chances on Askarov. One of them was Caulfield, an unbelievable chance. And Askarov made 2 gigantic saves in the back-to-back sequences, and it stopped the Canadiens from going up 3-1 and maybe even 4-1. If the Canadiens go up 3-1 in that game, I don't think they lose a game. But they don't go up 3-1. Eventually it's 2-2, and then San Jose starts to pile drive Montreal.
Pierre, I remember exactly what you're talking about. Now, since it's a late start, you know what? You'll have patience with me if I'm wrong. Or I actually thought it was 2-2, but it could have been 2-1. I thought it was 2-2, and I thought the Canadiens had a power play. Caulfield was all alone in close. He tries to score a 5-hole. Askarov takes it away. I remember that what you're talking about. There's a cross-ice pass that goes to Caulfield, who's in his office. Of course, on the left side, he's a right-handed shot. His wrister, and Askarov makes the save as well. You're right, Pierre. Those were 2 big stops at a key time in the hockey game.
Yeah, it was a massive time in the game. I thought that was really the TSN turning point of the game. That being said, I give the Canes full marks for coming back. That showed a lot of courage. I'm so happy for Newhook. That's tremendous for the Canadiens. That's really positive news for Newhook and the Canadiens with 2 goals tonight. And I know people are probably going to be upset with this. I know Kirby Dach played a hard game, and I like the way the Canadiens started the approach to their game with physicality. Kirby Dach doesn't fit on that line. Complete people just stop, especially the media people, and I'm talking about the TV people in particular. Like, enough. Stop making stuff up.
Pierre, I've said this once. I'm going to say it again. I'm starting to sound like a broken record now. There are players, Pierre. Kirby Dach, drafted 3rd overall. Pierre-Luc Dubois, drafted 3rd overall. Benoit Pouliot, drafted 4th overall. We could go on and on and on. Yeah. There are players that entice you with and make you fall in love with their size and their reach and their soft hands at times and the way they can take over a game when they feel like it. But then they end up playing 3 bad games in a row. And that's why at the end of their careers, with all due respect to them, they look back and you say, did that player play to their full potential? And the answer is no. And that's what separates the stars from the very average players, Pierre, the ones who are able to play, of course, with consistency. We all fall in love with Kirby Dach when he has a great shot and he scores a great goal the way he did versus Washington, and he looked great. And he's going to go into the sequence now, the next 2 or 3 games where he's not going to be that good. I know a lot of people said after last game, hey, that's 6 points in his last 6 games. But you also have to see what he does on the defensive side of the puck. And you're right, tonight, going back in his own zone, and there's only 1 D back, and he's there, and he has to be extremely careful with his puck management and with his decision-making. He gets stripped of the puck by Kiefer Sherwood, and then it becomes a battle of will. It becomes a question of who wants it more. And Sherwood ends up winning that puck battle, ends up passing to his teammate in the slot, who ends up scoring on a wrister, blocker side on Dobesh. You know, and you know, you can tell that it bothered him, all right, because he goes out, and I think a shift or a couple of shifts later, he hits Dickinson, and then Desharnais wants to get at him saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to protect my young player on this team. You can't do that. And Kirby Dach wanted no part of Desharnais at that point. So,
no, and then he went after Gaudette when Gaudette unfortunately went into the goalie. And then the second time, Gaudette went into the goalie on purpose. No, you're right. You nailed the Kirby Dach stuff. And that's what I'm watching. And if you're going to be a top 6 forward and you're going to play with elite players like Suzuki and Caulfield, you can't pick when you want to play and when you don't want to play. It's an amazing privilege to play on a line with those 2 guys. And if you don't bring it every single day, like I'll give you an example. Yeah. Colin Graff, every single shift he's on with those guys, he's bringing the heat. I've known Colin Graff's game since 2009. That's how long I've been watching him play. He was a small little kid in Boston that grew up to be a little bit bigger, and he's a late bloomer, but he's a good player. But he wants to be on that line. At the end of the game, when Gaudette had to win a faceoff deep in his own zone, Colin Graff was on the bench. Gaudette won the faceoff because the coach didn't want Graff on there. My point is that guys that get a chance to play with superstars like Smith and Celebrini, you do everything you can to be on that line. And it's the same thing when you play with Caulfield and Suzuki. And I don't see that urgency from Kirby Dach. I'm sorry, I don't. And Tony's absolutely right. That turnover to Kiefer Sherwood was a massive play in the game. Massive.
Pierre, could the way the Canadiens lost tonight, can it not actually be a blessing in disguise and one of the best things to happen to this team? What am I talking about exactly? The talk is adding a top six, a top six, a top six, a top six. And there's no doubt that a top six can help. I mean, you add an extra forward, a top six to any team in the National Hockey League, they're going to take it. But you were a part of a couple of cup wins in Pittsburgh, and I get it. You guys had an amazing offense. There's no doubt about it, led by Mario, Jaromir, and company. Having said that, your goalie has to come up big. Your defense has to come up big. And, you know, there's some games where your talent is just not going to work. Obviously, you had a ton of it in Pittsburgh, and it worked a lot. But there's some games where Montreal's talent won't work, Pierre, and they're going to have to win games on defense. We know that solid defensive play is not in their DNA. It's just not. They can work on it all they want. They might get better, but it's not one of their strengths. This team, Pierre, needs to add, at the very least, a defenseman. I mean, I know there's talk of some goalie talk and stuff like that, but your goalie is as good as your play in front of him and the defense in front of him. There's no doubt in my mind that this team is in desperate need of a defenseman that can play probably a good 18 minutes per game, can play in a shutdown role, can clear the front of the net, could take a couple of minutes off the other guys, and maybe insulate a Canadiens defense that, if you take a look at what they have on the third pair on most nights, they're hurting back there. They need a defenseman, Pierre.
I want to back you up. Whenever Arbor Jack is playing in the lineup, it's usually between 8 and 10 minutes, right, Tony? It's maybe max 11. Look at Jaden Strubal's numbers tonight. I'm going to say Strubel was between 9 and 11 minutes tonight. Maybe. I'll say 11 and a half tops. Just again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I watched the game pretty close, and I kind of can judge.
8:47.
So there you go. So he was, I said, between 8 and 11 minutes. So he was 8:40, almost 9 minutes. Tony, telling you, to your point, they need another D-man. They don't trust Arbor Jack. They don't trust Jaden Strubel, because if they did, those guys would be getting 12 to 14 minutes a game. They're not.
Do they need another centerman? Because they only played Oliver Caput in 9:55 tonight, Pierre.
The question I'm going to have on that one is, he got hit with a shot, and I don't know if that hurt him or not.
I hear you.
No, so I think that's something I'm going to wait on, because I wasn't sure. You know, he scored a goal. It was an off-speed pitch to start the game. I get it. Kind of fooled Ashkatov.
There's also a lot of power plays, right? His line mate, Slavkovsky, played 6 minutes on the power play, and Kapanen played 5 seconds. Yeah. There's a big swing right there.
Yeah, that's a great point. But I saw him kind of laboring a little bit after he got hit with a puck, so I wasn't sure whether he was hurt or not.
I thought it was, look, it was a difficult night for a lot of players. I mean, you talked about going power on power, Pierre. The line of Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, and Kirby Dach, they were combined -8, Pierre. -3 for Suzuki, -3 for Caulfield, -2 for Kirby Dach. They had a bad night at the office, Pierre.
They did. Cole had a tough night. He had a tough night managing his emotions. He had a tough night with the puck. I thought Nick had some good moments in the game, especially the middle part of the game. He missed the net a lot with his shot. And Kirby, I didn't like his game. You know, he's going to say that he went after Dickinson to try to get some energy and momentum. He was mad because he turned the puck over. That's why he did that. He was just trying to do a make good. I think Kirby Dach can play in this team. I don't think you can win if he's in your top 6. And if he's on the top line, I don't think that it's a fit. And I've been saying it for a long time, and I'm going to keep saying it until he proves me wrong by playing 10 great games in a row.
Yeah. I'm going to say something that's not going to be popular, because when it comes to Montreal Canadiens fans, they always want to go out and get that next guy. They always want to go out and get that star. They always want to go out and make the team better right away. And patience is not a virtue with some members of the fan base. Let's just say you give up the farm and you go get a Robert Thomas. Okay? Realistically, you're still probably a couple of years away, and he's probably not going to put you over the top right away. Why don't you just see it out, be patient, and let things play out organically?
A year ago, I remember we were the first people to have the Robert Thomas stuff. You know that.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
And people started taking it from us, which is fine. I don't care. Because I looked at the roster and I said, that's a perfect fit for what they have in terms of length of future contracts, in terms of what they have coming through the organization. He's a perfect fit. He's a perfect fit for what they need. Now, I don't know what it costs to get him. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I don't know what the marketplace is going to be. You know, I'm seeing players getting traded for draft picks. I'm seeing players getting traded for, you know, minor league guys. Let's see what the marketplace is. I think there are a lot of players on the market right now. I think there are a lot of guys available for trades. I really do.
Okay. So, you know, we're going to get there. And I know you love the player. Who doesn't? All right. There's a lot to like there. There's no doubt about it. So I'm just going to ask you this. If it starts with Michael Hage, are you starting? Yes or no?
I would say no. I'd say no. Now, the one thing I'd say, the reason why I'd say no,
Me too.
Hage has this unbelievable flexibility. It gives you roster flexibility. You can play center.
Yes.
Or you can play wing.
Either wing.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a huge thing. That's a huge thing in Montreal's favor. That gives you unbelievable roster flexibility. And so it's something that it's hard to find. And when you get it, you don't give it up that easy.
He can set up plays and he can score goals. He can score them at 5v5 and he can score them in his office on the power play. He could be a guy who could end up being on your first wave. He could be a guy who could end up being on your second wave. If he joins at the end of the season and he burns a year, he's got 2 years on his first contract. You can max him at 7 on his second contract. He's with you for 9 years. You go out and you pick up Robert Thomas. He's with you for 5 years and a couple of months. If he doesn't resign, obviously. Yeah. Now, in those 5 years, you might end up winning a cup or two. And if we all had a crystal ball and we realized that the Canadiens would win a cup or two with Robert Thomas in the next 5 years, everyone would say go for it, right? I think the Calgary Flames knew that they were giving up a pretty good hockey player in Jerome McGinley when they acquired Joe Nieuwendyk. But they said, we think Joe Nieuwendyk can help us win a Stanley Cup. 4 years later, the Dallas Stars won a Stanley Cup with Joe Nieuwendyk. And Calgary ended up getting a Hall of Famer who went on to score 600 goals. It was a win-win for both teams. But if you would have told Dallas, you're going to give up a guy who's going to score 600 goals, but Joe Nieuwendyk's going to help you win the Stanley Cup, they would have done it. But, you know, it's a chance you take. It's a chance you take. But if they don't end up winning that cup, and then you lose Jerome McGinley, it hurts.
Jerome never won the cup.
No, he didn't.
I guarantee if he would have stayed in Dallas, he would have won the cup.
I hear you. Okay, so you and I are on the same page, Pierre. I'm not giving up Michael Hage for Robert Thomas. I love his story. I love his talent. I love his vision. I love his shooting. I love his versatility. I love the fact that he can play all three forward positions. I love the fact that he could be under contract for at least 9 years. I love it all. So I'm not giving up on him. And if it's Hage or nothing, I'm out. Okay. Now,
Tony, let me ask you a question. Did you like Michael Misa's game tonight?
I did.
Okay. Well, Michael Hage will be better prepared to be an NHL player than Michael Misa.
You were talking about a guy who went second overall in the draft here behind Matthew Schaefer. Yeah.
I've seen guys that Lev Shunoff went second overall too.
Yeah, you're right about that too.
I can go down the line. The highway's littered. Who would you rather have, Tim Stützle at 3 or Quentin Byfield at 2?
Yeah,
Stützle. You would
of
think
course.
Stützle. Who would you rather have, Jake Sanderson at 6, or would you rather have, I don't know, Lafreniere at 1?
Jake Sanderson. There's no doubt about it.
So that number stuff, I don't give a poop about.
I hear you about that. I hear you about that. Yeah, this is. I love playing these games. As a matter of fact, who would you love to have, Nick Suzuki or Lias Anderson?
There you go.
Nick Suzuki went 13th to Vegas and Lias Anderson went 7 to the New York Rangers. As a matter of fact, who would you rather have, Nick Suzuki or Nolan Patrick? Now, Nolan had concussions. I get it.
Went at 2.
But Nolan Patrick went 2. You're right about that, Pierre. Okay, so let's move on and let's take a look now at the San Jose Sharks roster for lineup for tonight's game. Celebrini with Smith and Graf, Misa with Toffoli and Eklund, Wenberg with Sherwood and Kurashev, Ostapchuk with Godet and Goodrow, Orlov, Klingberg, Ferraro, McMudulin, Dickinson, Desharnais, and Askarov in goal. So 2 rookie goaltenders in goal tonight, Pierre. I think you saw it because although they both made big saves at various times, they they got rattled at times. You can tell that they got a little bit shaky. And now let's take a look at the scoring. It's the scoring starts off, if we can bring it up, with Oliver Kapanen, Pierre. We've been talking about him, who had hit a bit of a wall in the last month or so. And he picks up a pass, and he goes down the left side. He picks up speed. He's a right-handed shot. He lets it go, and it redirects off a stick, and then it ends up being Askarov blocker side. Got a favorable bounce for him, but that's a big goal for him, Pierre. That's a big goal for him.
He's going to get over 20 goals this year as a rookie. That's an amazing accomplishment. He's had a great year for Montreal. I hope he's okay. I mean, you talked about his ice time. I was worried about it when I saw him get hit in the foot with the puck. We'll see how it plays out. But that was an off-speed pitch, and it just fooled Askarov.
Pierre, I've talked about Kapanen over the past couple of days with all this talk about Robert Thomas, and I believe Kapanen can become a second-line centerman in the National Hockey League if the prerequisite for some is, let's just say, 60 points, because I think he can hit 60. But for those who want a second-line centerman who can hit 80, I'm not willing to go that far, obviously. There's not too many second-line centermen that hit 80, by the way, but everyone's always looking for one. But, I believe Oliver Kapanen could end up scoring up to 25 goals on the third line. Now, that's just a prediction. I don't know if that'll come true or not, but here's a player who's a very intelligent player, Pierre, and I would imagine he's going to be a player that's going to interest a lot of teams. Will the Canadiens be, if he's, with a lot of teams want Kapanen, obviously if they're giving up a big-time player, probably not. But, if the Canadiens are looking for a defenseman, there's a player that I would not dangle, Pierre.
Oh, no. You got to, I think, if you're trading that player, it better be a good player coming back in return, because the upside for this player is huge. And I like what you just said about potentially being a third center. If he's your 3, you got a legitimate chance to win a lot of games, like legitimate to win the cup. You do.
Yeah. Pierre, you know what? It took almost 10 minutes for San Jose to have their first shot, and their first shot was a good one. It went from Celebrini to Smith to Graf within 2 feet of Dobish, who made a save with his left pad. But then all of a sudden, this became a very, very offensive game. I found that Celebrini won a couple of very important faceoffs versus Nick Suzuki tonight. And I think it was the second one that he won back-to-back, an offensive zone faceoff. He dropped the puck to Klingberg. Matheson followed Celebrini. Klingberg had space on Caulfield. Cross-crease pass to Graf. Gouli couldn't cut it off. He jammed it home. It's 1-1, Pierre. And get this, at the end of one period of play, Macklin Celebrini had played 7 minutes and 12 seconds. He had 1 assist. He had 4 shots. He had 1 block shot, and he was 60% in the circle, Pierre.
Yeah, no, they just load him up. That's what I was saying. They'll double shift him every other shift. They're not afraid. They'll play him at the end of every period. They're not afraid. They'll start him in every game. They're not afraid. He's a matchup breakdown guy. You play power on power. You try to get Suzuki out there against him. You made the great point. If you win faceoffs in a matchup like that, you dominate the terms.
Yeah.
The other players playing defense, not playing offense.
In the second period, Pierre, Evans to Matheson at the point, whose shot is deflected by Danault with Anderson screening. The Canadiens did a lot of right on that play, Pierre, from getting the puck back to Matheson at the point, from Danault deflecting it, from Josh Anderson parking him in front of Askarov to screen him. Canadiens go up by a score of 2-1.
Yeah, and there was a big debate on the show that I saw that they thought Matheson actually scored the goal, but I thought it did change directions. I just wasn't sure if it went off Danault or if it went off Anderson, but it doesn't matter. The Canadiens get a goal, and it was right after that, Tony, that's where Askarov started making those big saves that we were talking about before Misa scored.
The 2-on-1 Demidov to Kapanen, Pierre, a left pad save.
It was phenomenal. It really, you got to give those were timely saves. I really believe if that goes to 3-1, I don't think San Jose is dominating that game.
Pierre, it was difficult on the goal that led to 2-2 for the San Jose Sharks. There's a loose puck within a couple of feet from Dobish.
Yep.
Carrier can't clear it. Struble can't clear it. Dobish tries to poke at it. It goes straight to Michael Misa. He beats Danault to it. It's 2-2. It was a comedy of errors, Pierre, in the defensive zone.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of communication there, and you're absolutely right. It's a great catch by you, Tony. Dobich hits that puck with a stick. The broadcast I was watching, they were talking about it going off of a Canadiens defenseman's skate. That wasn't true at all. It went off of Dobich's stick right into the high slot. Misa jumped on it, got his 5th of the year.
Geez, you weren't watching a great broadcast tonight, huh? They had it wrong a lot. Anyway, that's okay. We don't have to talk about that. Habs power play, Pierre. That's when Askarov stopped Cole Caulfield a couple of times. And now the San Jose Sharks after that, it's Graf to Smith to Celebrini. He goes by Slafkovsky. We talked about this one, a 1v1 versus Matheson. It may have changed direction a little bit. If it did, we can understand. If it didn't, it goes right through Dobish, and he's going to want to have that one back. That puts the Sharks up by a score of 3-2, Pierre.
How about Macklin Celebrini? First time he's been to 30 goals. He's going to get to probably 40 this year. Maybe.
As a teenager.
Yeah, it's amazing. And he's coming off the Olympics. Most of the Olympic guys are beat up. They're sore. They're tired. This guy played serious big minutes in the Olympics. It's nothing. This guy's superhuman. He is a machine. Tony, I've told this story so many times. I go to those BU practices and watch him and Lane Hudson push each other around and challenge one another. It was unbelievable to watch. I was like, oh boy, this guy.
It's amazing. And 3 years later, they're in the National Hockey League and they're superstars.
Yep. You could just
they're superstars.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Both of them are superstars. Absolutely.
Pierre, my collaborator on my friend's show from Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. Le Sick Podcast en français, évidemment. One of my collaborators, Jack Han, had a poll question last night on application X, and the question was one guy to build your team around. And he talked about Celebrini, he talked about Bedard, he talked about Schaefer, he talked about Slafkovsky. Bedard's a tremendous talent. With all due respect to him, I don't believe he's in that category. I like Slafkovsky a lot. He's a modern-day power forward who's really struggled since returning from the Olympics. We'll talk about him later. I don't think he belongs in that category. Most of the votes went to Macklin Celebrini. I think he had 79% or something like that. I think Schaefer may have had 12%. Pierre, what would be your percentage? Who would be first and second? Who you start a team, build a team around? A Macklin Celebrini or a Matthew Schaefer? What percentage would you give it?
I would take Celebrini because he's a centerman that can also play wing and he can handle big minutes. Those guys are hard to find. You have to draft those players. You don't trade for those players. One time Boston made a terrible mistake. They traded Joe Thornton away. And, you saw what Joe's career ended up becoming in San Jose. You don't trade those number one centers. Mario Lemieux, Joe Sakic, I can go on and on,
Yeah.
Those guys are worth their weight in gold. Ansei Kopitar, 20 years in the same place, 2 Stanley Cups. Jonathan Toews, 3 Stanley Cups. I mean, Sidney Crosby, 20 years in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You don't trade those guys. This kid's going to be like that. But I will say this. We've been spoiled as Canadiens fans. We saw Schaefer last week with a virtuoso performance in Montreal, and we saw Celebrini tonight with an unbelievable performance. So now you get to see how good these real superstar generational kids are.
Yeah.
They're spectacular. They are.
Actually, I saw a snippet of an interview with Pete DeBoer, and he said that before the Olympics, I think he called Joe Thornton, and he said, Joe, talk to me about this Celebrini kid. And he said, what do you want me to tell you? He's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, he lives at Joe's house.
Yeah.
Macklin does. And Pete, has a very good relationship with Joe. Joe wouldn't lie to him. Joe was playing there when Pete was coaching, and I know they had a tremendous amount of respect for one another. All I can say, Tony, is that I think Matthew Schaefer's spectacular. I think Macklin Celebrini spectacular.
Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit where LA and Tampa had to make a choice. Do you take Doughty or do you take Stamkos? Tampa took Stamkos. LA took Doughty. Both teams ended up winning 2 Stanley Cups.
The Islanders had a decision. They took Tavares over Hedman.
Ahead of Hedman.
Yeah. Those are, you know what, Pierre? I think the right answer is that there's no wrong answer. All right, okay. We talked about that play already. Sherwood strips the puck away from Dach in the offensive zone, wins a puck battle, then passes to Wenberg, who's hard wrister, beats Dobis, blocker side, 4-2. Pierre, when I saw that play, I said to myself, if the Canadiens lose this game, and we know the Canadiens have 2 players out of the lineup right now on a nightly basis, and right now it's Texier and Joe Veleno that are out of the lineup. When I saw Kirby Dach make a poor play selection, not protect the puck, not manage the puck, not pass the puck, get stripped of the puck, get knocked off the puck, lose the battle, and it leads to that goal, I said to myself, he can't play Friday night in Anaheim. Maybe I'm going far here. Going far here.
Because I'll tell you right now, this is going to be a tough matchup. Anaheim's playing real good hockey. I think they were down 3-1 tonight against Colorado. I don't know what the final score was. But Anaheim's playing good hockey, and they play with a lot of vim, vigor, and vitality. They play with pace. I would not have Kirby Dach playing that game. I'm being totally frank with you, Tony. I think you create the standard now, the last 20 games of the year, and I would not personally have him playing that game. But that's just me.
5-1 final for Colorado. By the way, Tampa Bay lost 5-1 to Minnesota. Minnesota's really rolling. They got
a former Montreal Canadiens.
They pick up 6'6" Mike McCarron, who, by the way, Pierre, struggled with the Canadiens, but he's become a responsible everyday NHLer now, eh?
I think part of the problem was the Canadiens weren't prepared to create a role for him. They were expecting him to be something he was never going to be. When he got to Nashville, he became what he was supposed to be, a big, physical, shutdown guy that could drop the mittens. They didn't really need his offense, even though he kicked in from time to time, but they created a role for him. It's a lot like Jankowski, who's playing in Carolina. He was a first-round pick of Calgary.
Yeah.
He's been all over the place. I saw Jankowski playing in the American Hockey League when I was working in Ottawa. He's playing in Rochester, and I was like, I hope this guy gets a chance, but he's never going to be a top 6 guy.
Yeah.
He's gone to Carolina as a fourth center. He's done fantastically well there. I think what happens with a lot of guys that are first-rounders, there's this expectation of points and points and points. They're not all going to get points, so you got to find a role for them.
Boston 2-1 winners over Pittsburgh. Buffalo, they keep rolling, Pierre. It's unbelievable. A 3-2 win over Vegas. There are reports out there that have the Buffalo Sabres in pole position right now for Robert Thomas. We'll see what happens, Pierre, because of course, trade deadline
involved in that trade, though, Tony. I'm trying to think what.
Well, Owen Power for sure.
So I had Jarmo Kekalainen with Jimmy Murphy on our eye test, and he was raving about Owen Power, and he's talking about the physical dimension that Owen Power is starting to realize. And so I don't know if he was trying to sell him.
Yeah, which could be. And you know what? And by the way, he wouldn't be the first guy that might have to trade away a player that you love. I mean, but they're Pierre. I wouldn't want to play the Buffalo Sabres in the playoffs. I really wouldn't. They have great defense.
Yep.
They're strong. They're fast. They're big. They're talented. And I don't know if you saw this, but the images of the crowd in Buffalo tonight, I haven't seen that crowd like that in a long, long time. It was crazy. And you know what? It was fun to watch because they had a good 12 years of suffering, Pierre.
They've really suffered a lot. I'm so happy to hear you say that. You know, I coached a lot of games there back in the day, big games in the odd, and it was a rough place to go. And Buffalo was really good back in those days. They were really, really good. And, you went in there and those fans had passion. It was as difficult a building as there was in the league.
Yeah.
Friday night in Buffalo, New York was always an 8:00 at night start, and those people were lubricated. They were ready to go, and it was a tough game. Every Friday night in Buffalo was a nasty piece of business.
All right, okay. I just want to complete some of the other games. Columbus victorious over Nashville. Steven Stamkos talked at the end of the game that it was a gut punch to find out that Mike McCarron was traded before the game. He thought that was a little bit of a downer for his team. 12-2-1, the Columbus Blue Jackets under Rick Bowness. What a story that is. And the Florida Panthers lose, and they lose big. They lose by a score of 5-1 to the Devils. They're done, Pierre.
They're done. It's time. They got to start selling. I had them. I think I didn't tell you, Tony. I had a list 2 nights ago of 10 teams that need to sell. Rangers, Devils, Toronto, Florida, Philadelphia, Vancouver, St. Louis, Chicago, Calgary, Winnipeg. And I'm going to add Nashville, which they are. I was going to add Nashville for you.
Yeah.
They already made a trade. They moved McCarron. So I think before the end of tomorrow night, I think we're going to have at least 1 or 2 more teams. Of the 32, I think we'll have 12 to 14 real sellers.
Pierre, with his 4-point game, Sportsnet says Macklin Celebrini is on pace to finish with 121 points. That would be the second highest point total in one season by a teenager in NHL history, only behind the great one, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Who's had 137 points, 1979, 1980.
And no disrespect meant to Wayne.
The league's tougher now than when Wayne did it.
It's a lot harder.
Yeah, you know what? The second I read it, I'm thinking to myself, Macklin's 121 was more impressive than Wayne's 137.
Yeah. So all I'll say is this guy can do it any way you want. He can do it with power. He can do it with speed. He can do it with finesse. He can do it with his shot. He can do it with his playmaking. He can out-physical you because he's in better shape than most players. This is scary to watch how good this guy is.
Wow. I just saw a picture of Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon. What are they thinking about? We'll see if we can bring it up a little bit later on.
Is that the one up in the stands?
Yeah, that's the one up in the stands. It's on Habs. It's on Habs on Reddit. We'll see if we can can get it. All right, okay. The Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by some of our sponsors, including Energy Transportation Group. We thank them very much. A leading asset-light 3PL that's driven to be different from cross-border freight between Canada, USA, and Mexico to coast-to-coast shipping in both Canada and the United States. Energy moves it all. They're fast, reliable, and powered by tech that delivers smarter logistics. If you need a real partner in transportation, contact the team at sick@shipenergy.com and see how Energy Transportation Group is changing the freight game. Also brought to you in part by Playground. The World Series of Poker Circuit returns to Playground from March 23rd to April 7 with a $2.5 million guaranteed main event in 2025. The World Series of Poker Circuit main event at Playground shattered records, generating 1,978 entries and a $4.45 million prize pool, the largest in World Series of Poker Circuit history. This is the first of 4 massive WSOP-C events on the Playground schedule for 2026, and every one of them is a can't-miss event. So in terms of their schedule, it's a big part of their history. Visit playground.ca/sickpodcast or click on the link in the YouTube description to spin a virtual wheel for a chance to win up to $100 in free play. Also brought to you by the Geloso Beverage Group. For big games, you want the best beers on your team. Whether it's La Bittt Tibi IPA with its bold flavor, La Bittt Tibi Lager with exceptional smoothness, or La Bittt Tibi Ultra Lager, which is ultra light and ultra refreshing, they always have a place on your team. La Bittt Tibi, brewed for special occasions. Please drink responsibly. We will get to the third period scoring in the Montreal Canadiens game in just a second, Pierre. But before we do, I know a lot of fans right now are probably wondering what's going on in terms of the Canadiens' position in for a playoff spot. And so we're going to give it to you. Tampa Bay is on top of the Atlantic. They're 2 points up on Buffalo. They got 2 games in hand. The Red Wings are third in the Atlantic. They're 2 points behind Buffalo, who's 2 points behind Tampa. Detroit and Buffalo have played the same amount of games, so Tampa has 2 games in hand on Buffalo and on Detroit. Buffalo has 78. Detroit have 76. The Canadiens have 75. They're in the first wildcard spot. 2 points up on Boston, who are in the second wildcard spot. The Canadiens are 1 point behind Detroit. The Canadiens have a game in hand. Be careful of the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are 3 points behind the Bruins for a wild card spot, 5 points behind the Canadiens. All those teams have played 60 games, the same amount of games. All right, okay. Canadiens' next opponent will be the Ducks in Anaheim on Friday night. It's a 9 p.m. start. And once again, if we brought you a post-game show tonight for a game that started at 10 p.m. Eastern, we're obviously going to bring you one for a game that starts at 9 p.m. Eastern on Friday night. And the Canadiens will be in Los Angeles on Saturday night. Let's get back to the scoring in period number 3 now. All right. It's Will Smith who makes the score 5-2. It's a power play goal. And that goal, I believe it was Josh Anderson, Pierre, who picked up a roughing penalty on Michael Misa that was unnecessary, Pierre.
Totally unnecessary. What a pass by Celebrini to Smith, though, on the back door.
The slap pass. The slap pass was unbelievable, Pierre.
You know, and people are going to say, well, what's Carrier doing? He's got to take Will Smith. Are you kidding me? I don't care who was on defense. That puck was going in because of the pass. What a pass by Celebrini. Just amazing.
Pierre, the Canadiens go on a power play, and here's where the comeback starts. Suzuki to Hudson to Demidov with the one-timer. He wires it past Askarov, top corner, blocker side to narrow that lead to 5-3. Macklin Celebrini with a clearing attempt from behind his net, It's intercepted by Goulet at the blue line, Pierre. This was a real good play from the Canadiens. Goulet to intercept it. The Canadiens to put pressure on Celebrini. Goulet to intercept it at the blue line to Newhook, to Evans, back to Newhook. His wrist shot beat Askarov, who got a piece of it with his glove, 5-4. The Canadiens go on the power play. Dobson to Matheson on the second wave. His blast is blocked. It goes off of Gallagher right to Newhook, who sees that Askarov is off of his line, gives him a little bit of net. So he says, you know what? I'm going to shoot it right at the net, and I'm going to try and bank it off of Askarov. It touches his right skate. It goes in. It's tied at 5. Pierre, Alex Newhook is played great hockey before his injury, and since returning, this guy has picked up exactly where he left off, Pierre.
His speed's a factor. His ability to get to the net is a factor. He's an unselfish player. And I like that second goal because he took advantage of an empty net from a bad angle, and he stuck it in. I mean, he looked like he's having a ton of fun out there. He's a very big addition. I think it might have been you, or I forget who it was, Tony. If it wasn't you, I apologize, that said that this is a great trade deadline kind of acquisition. He's your own player, but he is coming back just before the deadline, and he's a good player.
It wasn't me, Pierre, but it seems like you like that point, so I'll take credit for it. All right, okay. Pierre, Anaheim, you talked about them before. They can fly, right?
Yes, they can.
I'd move Newhook on the first line with Suzuki and Caulfield, and I realize
I agree with you. I didn't want to say anything, but I don't want to start trouble in Montreal. But I'd give Kirby Dach a rest on Friday night. I think you create a standard, and one of the things I'd do is I'd move Newhook in his spot.
And at that point, are you bringing Texier in the lineup, or are you bringing Joe Veleno?
I'd bring Texier, and it's not a knock on Joe Veleno either, but I'd just put Texier in the lineup.
All right, okay. Considering that it's going to be 2 games in 2 nights.
Yep.
And on Saturday night, they're going to play versus Phil Deneau's former team.
Mm-hmm.
And Phil doesn't quite have the pace or the foot speed that he used to. He did score a big goal for the Canadiens tonight. Would you consider putting Veleno in on Friday night and resting Deneau?
It's a great debate. I think it's got a lot of merit to it. Here's the one thing I noticed. When the Canadiens pulled the goalie and they call a timeout, Phil Deneau was the guy that went out to take the faceoffs. The coach trusts him.
Yeah.
The coach really trusts him, and you can see he's going to keep putting him out there in key times. He has him take those faceoffs a lot in key situations. So even if it's a back-to-back, I don't think the coach really cares. He says, I need this guy.
I'll ask you one more on that back-to-back. Would you consider it with Gallagher?
Yep, 100%. Brendan tried his butt off tonight. I don't know if you agree.
Yeah, of course he does. He does all the time.
He didn't make a big impact physically. Those are some big guys he was trying to run over, and they were kind of pushing him aside. But this is going to be a tough trip for the older guys. It's, you look at it, it's Tuesday tonight. I'm sure this is a dirty little secret in the league. You can't fly out of San Jose after a game because of the pollution laws and noise pollution laws. So you either have to bus to San Francisco or you bus to Oakland, and you can't land in Anaheim. You can't land in Orange County. You got to land in LA, and then you got to bus down. So I don't know if the Canes will leave tonight or if they're going to go tomorrow morning, but it's something to pay attention to. It's a different kind of deal when you're playing San Jose, Anaheim in a not a back-to-back, but those are the 2 games before you play LA. It's different.
All right, so the Canadiens tied at 5, and then once again, Pierre, with less than 5 minutes to go, a too many men on the ice penalty, and that's going to drive everyone crazy. And I'm sure the second the coaches got back to the room and they went to Marty's office and they debriefed, they probably said, what the hell happened on that too many men on the ice?
Yeah, that was tough to watch.
Lane Hudson jumped on and he got off, but obviously we don't know what the communication was or wasn't, right?
Yeah, you don't know. And I would imagine somebody's going to say something after the game. I just don't know what they're going to say. But that was tough.
Pierre, the Canadiens had opportunities down the stretch and even, of course, with the empty net. But in the end, Lane couldn't control the puck at the offensive blue line, and Celebrini and Gaudette go on a 2-on-1. He passes to Gaudette, and there you have it, Pierre. You
know what's neat about that?
Empty net goal.
The broadcast I was watching was trumpeting the Hobey Baker winners, Celebrini and Caulfield. They forgot one. The guy that scored the last goal, Adam Gaudette. There were 3 Hobey Baker winners in that game tonight. That doesn't happen very often.
Wow. I have something here for you, Pierre. You just brought up something, so I'm going into my notes to answer your question. Okay. Post-game depart to Anaheim, Pierre. They left right after the game.
So they'll bus to San Francisco or Oakland. They'll fly to LAX, and I would bet you because they're playing a back-to-back, they might just stay in LA. They might stay in LA, then go right to Anaheim. It's about an hour bus ride down from LAX to Anaheim. It's about an hour up to Frisco or an hour and a bit to Oakland. I've done the trip a ton of times. It's a little different.
They practice in Anaheim tomorrow, Pierre.
So they're going down to Anaheim. There you go.
Yeah, they practice in Anaheim tomorrow, Wednesday. They practice on Thursday. They play Anaheim on Friday. Yeah. And right after the game, their post-game bus to Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's changed a little bit in LA now. It's a little better because you got the JW Marriott and you got the Ritz-Carlton right across the street from LA Live where they play. So it's good.
And for those who are wondering, Pierre, after their game in LA on Saturday, they're staying over in LA and they're departing the next morning at 10 o'clock in the morning.
That's the most prudent thing to do. The red eyes kill guys, especially the Olympic guys. It's not good.
All right.
That's good. That's smart. That's good planning.
All right. Okay. If you want to get in on the action, of course, for the Canadiens and the Ducks in Anaheim on Friday, go all the way with Betway. Get a deposit matchup bonus up to $300 on your first deposit. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account. Redeem your welcome offer. Offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offers not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. And please play responsibly. If we can bring up the event summary of just the Montreal Canadiens players so we could take a look at their time on ice. There we go. Thank you very much for that. Mike Matheson picked up 3 assists in this game, 3 points. He led the Canadiens offensively speaking. An assist for Gallagher, an assist for Suzuki, 2 goals for Alex Newhook, an assist for Slavkovsky, 1 for Caden Gooley, a goal for Phil Deneau, an assist for Lane Hudson, 2 assists for Jake Evans, and a goal for Demidov and a goal for Kapanen. Demidov scores, Kapanen scores. Pierre, I thought there was a big stop by Askarov. Trying to remember exactly when it was, but Askarov made a huge stop off of Slavkovsky, who I thought was not very dangerous tonight. It was one of the first times that I thought he was dangerous. Actually, it was about 6 minutes left in the game.
He was in the high slot there, Tony.
In the high slot. It was a bang play all alone in the slot. It was a quick snapshot. He was square to the puck, Askarov. It didn't go for a corner. I wasn't able to beat him. Pierre, I know that he's going to be fine. There's too much tools there. And you know what? 1 week's not going to erase the great 2 months that Juraj Slavkovsky had before the Olympics. What can he be going through right now, Pierre? Because clearly he's not himself.
Mental and physical fatigue. I don't think people realize how much they overachieved, the Slovaks in particular, and he was a huge part of that team. It was really physical hockey. The last, from the quarterfinal to the bronze medal game was a lot of physicality, and between the semifinal and the bronze medal game, Tony, that was a back-to-back for Slovakia and Finland. That's hard. He's just worn out. It's time zone travel, it's fatigue, it's physical pounding, it's mental. There's a lot in there, so I can understand that. What is he, 21 years of age? Come on. He'll get it back on track. You'll see. He'll get it back on soon. It's usually 7 to 10 days after every international event for guys to get it back going.
Yeah. Pierre LeBrun talked to a team executive who was convinced that Robert Thomas will move by Friday's deadline.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me.
But Pierre, I have to ask you the question. All right. So I get it. The Blues are having a terrible season.
Yeah.
They probably say, you know what? We won our cup in 2019. Binnington's very good, but he's on the decline.
He's getting moved too, Tony.
Yeah. Parayko is a good defenseman. He played for Team Canada. There's no doubt, but he's not the defenseman that he was 5 years ago. He's dropping. Jordan Kyrou, there are deficiencies in his 200-foot play, and he's not scoring with the same regularity that he did with a couple of years ago. And they're probably looking and they're seeing what San Jose is doing. They're seeing what Anaheim is doing. They're seeing what Montreal is doing, just to name a few. And they're saying, you know what? We got to reset. We got to rebuild. Whatever you want to call it, we got to retool. We got to do it. But Robert Thomas is only 26 years old, Pierre.
Yeah,
and he's got a great contract with $8.1 million. That's a great contract for the next 5 years after this one. So it's almost like, could you imagine if the Canadiens would take the decision today to be St. Louis and rebuild? Would they trade Suzuki? Why would they want to trade Robert? Why would they want to trade Robert Thomas?
I don't know, but here's what I'll ask you. Why didn't they want to re-sign Alex Pietrangelo? Instead, they signed Torrey Krug. That was the beginning of the end for their group. It cost a lot of people their jobs, and eventually it led to Jimmy Montgomery, coming in to coach that team. So I'm just telling you, they've made some really interesting decisions there as a management team. The Pietrangelo one still is haunting. People don't realize how committed he was to the city and how committed the players were with him. He's a very popular guy. So I don't know.
There's been some very odd decisions.
There have been.
If Buffalo adds Robert Thomas,
yep.
And obviously we don't know what they're going to give up, but if they add that guy.
Well, so the way you look at it with Buffalo is it moves Ryan McLeod down to the 2-hole or the 3-hole, excuse me. You're talking now like firepower at every level, speed through the entire lineup. I don't know what you have to give up though. I think it would obviously involve a defenseman.
They have a ton of players that could play center there because after Tage Thompson, they got Norris and they got Kulich.
That's what I'm saying. They got Kulich is injured though, Tony. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how long he'll be out for. It doesn't sound like it's too good for him now, but yes, the answer to your question is yes, they do.
So Pierre, I have to ask you this. We talked about the Canadiens, and I know you said you're not interested in dealing Michael Hage, and neither am I. If you were the GM of the Canadiens, and would you be worried about Buffalo adding a Robert Thomas, and would it change what you're going to give? Would you force the issue to try and make a trade, which would mean, if you're Kekalainen, this is music to your ears. Like if it would bother the Canadiens that Buffalo's making a play for Thomas, and he starts a little bit of a bidding war here, he's going to up what he can get for this player. Pardon me, not Kekalainen. If you're Doug Armstrong, if you're Doug Armstrong and you know that the Canadiens want Robert Thomas and you know that the Sabres want Robert Thomas and Kekalainen and Kent Hughes are going for him, if you're Kent Hughes, Pierre, are you now going to say, you know what, I'm going to give up probably more than I would have wanted to, but I have no other choice. I don't want him to go to Buffalo.
No, you got to think then it becomes a different game. The only thing I'd say realistically is there are ways around giving up assets that you want to keep. You just have to overpay with other assets. It could be draft picks. It could be a top-level prospect. It could be one of your goalies. I'm not so much for St. Louis. Well, if they trade Binnington, they got Hofer. They're going to need a goalie. So, there's different ways of doing it. The Hage thing is, to me, I have a hard time negotiating that into any trade right now.
I agree with you 1,000%. Let's bring back up the event summary again. And by the way, if you have questions for us, please feel free to ask your questions. We're now going we're about a minute away from an hour strong. And once again, we'll always be here for you. All right. Okay, Pierre, what jumps out at you besides Caulfield and Suzuki's -3 apiece?
One of the things that really stands out to me, Tony, is Matheson has 3 assists in the game, but he's even. So again, tough night at the office on defense.
I got something that stands out for me in the craziest, most offensive game that I've seen all season. Kirby Dach and Bulldog didn't get a shot.
No,
Does that make sense?
I hate to beat up on Kirby, I really do, but I was really unimpressed tonight. I was like, oh boy, there's just not a lot going on there tonight. And I've said it, Tony, I just don't see how he fits. And I know there are TV people out there that think he's, this and that. I just don't. from all my years of experience, I just don't see a fit there. I think he plays on your team. I just don't see a fit with the two guys he's playing with.
By the way, you talked about faceoffs, Pierre, and Dano out there to take a late draw.
Yeah.
It's Jake Evans, who was unbelievable tonight in the circle. Look at that. He won 10 of 13 draws for 77%.
I thought Jake was one of the most impactful players the Canadiens had tonight. And he got hurt late in the game. He got tripped from behind.
Oh, yeah, he got tripped badly, yeah.
But I thought Jake played a tremendous game.
It's a great stat line, 15-35. He's got 2 assists, 2 points. He's a +2, 77% in the circle for him.
Yeah.
He's got a hit in the hockey game. It was a good game for Jake Evans. Other than that, Pierre, you pointed out, obviously, there's a lack of trust there with their number 6D, 847 for Jaden Struble. I also found that it was a difficult night at the office. I know that Carrier has a -1, and that's not all that bad. I didn't think he had a good game, Pierre. I thought he struggled a lot.
He had a tough game. A lot of the goals, he was in the picture. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
His number 45 is in the picture when you see the goals going in. That's not a good night.
Other than that, 11-17 for Brendan Gallagher. 955 for Oliver Kapanen. We talked about that as well. Kapanen did have 3 shots on goal. So did Ivan Demidov in this game. Noah Hudson was an even, playing 21 minutes. Caden Gooley was an even, playing just over 20 minutes. Mike Matheson was an even though he had 3 points in tonight's hockey game. What else stands out? A difficult night at the office in the faceoff circle for Suzuki. Not that bad. I mean, he won 11 of 24 draws. It's not terrible. Alex Newhook showing you that faceoffs are not a part of his game, Pierre, winning 3 of 8 for 38%. Yeah. But once again, it was very, very good for Newhook tonight.
He was really good. His speed was really apparent. He was moving around the edge, dominating the puck when he had a chance to have it on his stick. I thought he played a really good game.
Let's take, why don't we do this? Why don't we take 7 questions? Canadiens give up 7 tonight. We'll take 7 questions.
Okay.
7 questions for Pierre McGuire. The GDB sends over $5. Thank you very much. Marty will never fully trust Arbor. He needs a fresh start. Arbor and a second to Calgary for White Cloud. Pierre, it's Herb Zurkowski, actually, with a report that based on his information, the Calgary Flames are interested in Arbor Xhekaj.
Well, if they would do Zach Whitecloud for Arbor Xhekaj, I would do that in a second. No disrespect meant to Arbor, but Zach Whitecloud's he's a big-time right shot defenseman that can shut people down, and he's won the Stanley Cup. He can handle minutes. He's a Canadian kid. He's a good player. He's a good player.
How about losing that guy? Some people are going to say, yeah, but you're losing a guy who can drop the gloves, Pierre, but
I'll go get you one of those, Tony. If you really want one, I'll find you one. It won't be a problem.
I hear you, Pierre. You're
trading. You know how many? With all due respect to the fans,
I
really respect Montreal fans because I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of minor league hockey, American League and East Coast League. I can get you guys that can do that if you want. There are a lot of them, and they're good at it too.
Yeah. What are the chances though of Calgary wanting to trade a Whitecloud after they just acquired him from Vegas as part of the Rasmus Anderson trade? I mean, that wouldn't.
I don't worry about that. They probably think it's going to be a tough slog for them for the next couple of years. They don't want their guys getting pushed around. Maybe they see Arbor being a fit there. And if it's a second-round pick as well, that just helps them in their rebuild. That's all.
Question number 2. Let's go for it. Pierre, what is happening with the penalty kill? This coming from Nicola.
Yeah, today was just weird. It was really weird, but Celebrini makes a big difference. I watched the Washington game too, obviously, and the Islander game was funky because it was a 5-on-3 situation to start it, and the Canadiens were reeling, and then Schaefer started dominating. You've had 2 out of the last 3 games where you've had dominant young players, Schaefer and Celebrini, running power plays, and then, Washington for years and years and years, one of the top 3 power plays in the league. They're not as good as they used to be, but they're still pretty good. They got firepower, so they'll figure it out. But I think a lot of it's just they got out of rhythm from the Olympic break too.
Yeah, somebody's asking how big Zach Whitecloud is. Zach Whitecloud is 29 years old. He's 6'2". He's 210 pounds.
He's a
He
big
turns
kid.
30 years of age at the end of November next year. He's a big boy. He can clear the front of the net. He's a very experienced player. He's played 78 playoff games. Obviously, he's been part of some very long runs with the Vegas Golden Knights for about 4 or 5 years, including the year they won the Stanley Cup in 2022, 2023. So this guy's been a regular on a cup winner before. He's a good player. There's no doubt about it.
I watched him play college at Bemidji State. He was actually brought to the LA Kings rookie camp. They didn't sign him, so he went back to becoming a free agent, and nobody knows that area of hockey better than the general manager in Vegas, and they decided to give him an opportunity, and they signed him, and he turned out to be a really good find.
Question number 3. Sun Fun Traveler says, why was Newhook not on for the goalie pull? He had a great game.
Yeah.
Feed the energy he had.
It's a fair no, you know what? That's a very good question. But I think they just, again, he's just coming back. They probably had set situations, and they wanted Danault on to win the faceoff.
I'd have to take a look at who was on the ice right before.
Well,
too.
Caulfield, because they had a timeout.
Yeah.
They called a timeout, so that didn't matter.
Yeah, you're right.
Caulfield, they had Suzuki, they had Demidoff, they had Hudson, they had Danault. So, like, I kind of get it. Danault, if you're going to do it, it's to Tony's point about the faceoffs. Newhook struggled in the faceoff circle. Danault was 50%, but he won the draw, so can't knock it.
Yeah, you can't knock it. He did win the draw. You're right about that. But I do like the concept of playing the player that's hot. You know?
I agree. It's a great point.
Newhook had a hot stick tonight, and that 2 could have been 3. Next. Brandon says, you guys think H could be a fit next to Suzuki and Caulfield? Thanks for doing the late post-game show, guys. Great stuff. Thank you very much. Yep. Pierre, you talked about his versatility. He could play center and he could play either wing. If he doesn't play center with the Montreal Canadiens, can you see him playing with Suzuki and Caulfield?
I could.
Yeah.
I could.
So can I. Next question. I think this will be number 5. Says Adam, Pierre, is at a disadvantage for teams who play the night of the trade deadline?
It's tough. It's really tough. Tony made the point about what Steven Stamkos said about Michael McCarron being traded. Nashville lost tonight, and he said it was a kick in the belly for the Nashville Predators. It's hard when you play on trade deadline. It really is. I've been through it before. I was part of some pretty substantial trades at trade deadline. It's very emotional. No question about it. It's very difficult. I agree. I've always been a proponent, Tony, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't think the league should play on trade deadline. I don't think there should be any games on trade deadline day.
Really, eh? Yep. Yeah, that makes sense to me, Pierre. That really, really makes sense. It's, you know what? A lot of players are down, like you said. A lot of teams are, and you know what? Even Andrew Burnett, I think tonight he was talking and stuff like that. And there's reports on social media. I haven't quite seen the interview as yet, but his tone kind of says it all.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough.
All right, okay. And not to mention that if a player is going to get dealt, if you give them the day off and stuff like that, they can take their time. They can travel. They don't have to be rushed from going here or there and everywhere and all that stuff, trying to get the places in time. Anyway, by the way, did you see the question that Connor McDavid was asked about Jack Hughes?
I did. Yeah.
Jack Hughes is a great talent, but whoever compared him to Wayne Gretzky?
No. I don't know what's going on with the media guys, but yeah, I saw it.
Lately, in the last week, there's been some clips. I don't know if there's been some audio that have come out. Some questions that the media have asked have been like just insane.
Yeah, we agree.
Like Connor McDavid is one of the greatest players of all time. The stats are showing it. And he's got to stand there and listen to a member of the media ask him his thoughts on a guy like Jack Hughes and comparisons to Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah. No.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling. All right, Pierre, in ending, you and I are going to talk next on Friday night.
Correct.
Okay.
I'll be in Lake Placid, New York. I will have just done 2 games. I'll be watching the Canadiens. Have just finished doing the semifinal of the ECAC Women's Hockey Tournament, which I'm really
that's
excited
cool.
about. Yeah,
I love going to Lake Placid.
It's a good spot.
Yeah,
it's a good spot.
It is a good spot. It's nice. And of course, so many memories there, right? Back with 1980.
Oh, lots of good memories watching my son's team win a college championship there at the class of or the Herb Brooks Arena now. Pretty cool. I got a lot of really good memories. I've called a lot of big games there too for college sports, so it's been good.
Oh, that's pretty cool, Pierre. Okay, Pierre, I'll leave you with this. When I talk to you on Friday night following the Canadiens and the Ducks, will the Canadiens have made a move or two? And I'm not going to ask you which player, but if they do, tell me which position you see them making a move for.
I think they're going to add on defense. I think it's really apparent that they need some more depth on defense. They're not comfortable with it, and I think they will make a move on defense.
And that would be something because in their last couple of interviews with members of the media, Messieurs Gorton and Hughes have talked about adding to a top 6 and have also talked about thinking that they should be okay, that they believe they're okay on defense. Now, with time, maybe their opinion has changed, or maybe they were just playing poker. At the same time, Pierre, think about it, right? We go out there, they're doing interviews, we're asking them what they need. It's not like they're going to divulge their entire game plan either.
No. It's called subterfuge. Yes, it happens. People give out misinformation all the time.
This one, the GDDP sends over $5. Let's get crazy. Hage and Fowler for Shesterkin from New York. Who says no? Can add in Monty and Lane to balance the cap hit. No. Stop. No. Pierre's not trading Michael Hage, and he's not trading Jacob Fowler. No. And neither am I. No way.
Come on.
No way.
No.
All right. Pierre, do you have, do you have a name? Right-handed defenseman.
Well, White Cloud's a good start.
White Cloud's a good start. Yeah.
That's a good start.
Now, okay, let me
the other guy that I would really, Tyler Myers. I would love Tyler Myers.
Okay. So the right-handed defenseman that you're looking to acquire would be a right-handed defenseman that can play between 12 and 16 or between 16 and 20.
Either way, it doesn't matter. If I could get one that could play 16 to 20, that's good too.
Well, that's awesome, but you'd have to give up a little bit more, obviously, right?
That's what I'm saying. You have to give up a little more to get
because
it.
12 to 16, I like Luke Schenn. Luke Schenn could play a good 12, 13 minutes.
When you get Luke, you get a Stanley Cup champion, you get a big body, you get a proud guy. You don't get a lot of mobility anymore. I'm real good friends. He's a good player.
Yeah.
Really like him a lot. And he's a zero maintenance player. He's like an extension of your coaching staff. He really is.
What do you think of Rasmus Ristolainen's name?
I like him a lot. He's had a really good bounce back year. I just don't know where he fits on this team in Montreal. I just don't know him as a person as well. I don't know how he fits. I don't know him as a person.
It's not ideal, but if you had to go out and if there was a left-handed defenseman that was available that could play the right side, they have a lot of lefties. I get it.
So the one thing I'd say is if you get a bigger minute guy, you can move Gooley over, and Gooley could play, in the third pairing, and he doesn't have to play on his offside. I think that's the biggest thing they're worried about with Struble and with Arbor. Neither one of those guys, Tony, when they're in the lineup, are getting big minutes. They're just not getting minutes.
I look at big guys. And I think they really need a big guy. And that's why we've talked about Jamie Oleksiak before.
Yep. They're in the middle of a playoff chase. I don't know what they're doing. I don't think they're moving him.
Yeah, that's the problem. But how about Winnipeg? And I'll leave you with this.
Yep.
Let me just
Logan Stanley?
Logan Stanley. I want to check his minutes. I know he's a left-handed defenseman. I know that.
Yeah.
But I want to see how much he plays exactly.
He's probably around 12 to 14 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Logan.
Would you go for him?
Yeah, I have no problem with him. He's a high character person. He's a good player.
He's strong. He's very strong.
He's a big, strong kid. He's big.
Pierre, the next couple of days will be very interesting. We'll talk to you again on Friday night at around midnight, Pierre. Talk to you then. Ciao for now.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yep.
Pierre McGuire was brought to you by Restaurant Vago Italien on Green Avenue, corner of the Maisonneuve. Special thanks to all of our partners with Betway, with the Geloso Beverage Group and Bittt Tibi, with Playground, with Energy Transportation Group. Thank you very much. The Canadiens lose by a score of 7-5. If you like the podcast tonight, hit the like button. There's also a hype button at the bottom of your podcast. Gives us some energy that we need, and it goes a long way. Thank you very much for that. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple. It's our way of feeling the love. I got to tell you, every time we see these late night starts and we're like, you know what? I hope people are going to be around to watch us tonight. And you were there in pretty good numbers tonight. So thank you very much. I'm sure the numbers would have been even a little bit more had the Canadiens won. But unfortunately, they come up a little short and lose by a score of 7-5. Bobby says, go to bed, Tony. That's exactly what I'm going to do, Bobby. And then I'm going to be back up tomorrow morning. And I'm going to do it all over again with my first radio hit at 8:20 a.m. tomorrow morning, or 8:10 a.m. 8:10 a.m. 8:10 or 8:20. Tomorrow's Wednesday, 8:20 a.m. Hit on the radio on Cogeco Estrie, and then the Sick Podcast en français starting at 10 a.m., finishing at the very least at around noon, and then a radio hit with Cogeco Quebec City at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, then a hit on television on GC at TVA Sports at around 5:30 p.m., and then I'll be back tomorrow night at 10 p.m. for the Sick Podcast in English. So we'll be busy, and that's the way I love it. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching. Thanks for making this your preferred Habs postgame show. I appreciate it. Ciao for now.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaBeat.tv, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.